middle of my wedding ceremony realizing I'd made a terrible mistake.
Pause for a moment. I just realized when I got up to the end of the aisle that I'm missing half of my dress. Maybe I could put it on now. I'm sure you guys have never been to a wedding like this before. Okay, we can resume.
That's so funny. Oh my gosh, that's so funny. I was literally just thinking, like, even before she paused, I was thinking about how beautiful she looked. She looked so good, but that really was the finishing touch on the dress for sure. That's so hilarious. Honestly, like, for sure not how she probably envisioned the day going, but I kind of love that moment. It's just so real and everyone is laughing and having a good time, and she looked bomb. She looked so bomb. And that looked like a lovely wedding. I don't think she's a bridezilla. That's really funny. Oops. Oh my God, I hate this already. Freaking contract. All right, let's zoom right in so we can all see. Can you see this? Okay, my promises to you, blank. I will make every attempt to keep things inexpensive for everyone and treat your time and energy with all the respect it deserves. So it looks like there's 2 promises for her, and then your promises to me. You will purchase the decided upon bridesmaid dress when the time comes without a fuss, even if it wasn't the one you liked most. You will pay $100 deposit agreeing to these terms. The deposit will be added to your dress cost. Deposit non-refundable. So they're taking a deposit to be a bridesmaid? I don't know. Does that make sense? Like, I've obviously never gotten married before. I've never been a bridesmaid before either. Which, like, thank God, I'm not really interested. I don't know if that's mean or not, but like, I'm down to celebrate, but it's just a lot of responsibility, you know, a lot of stuff to do. My sister gets engaged on my 21st and has her bridal shower on my 22nd. I mean, fair enough, like, she could have picked any other day, and it's not like she just realized, you know, if it wasn't your sister, it would be different, but it's your sister. Like, you've had to celebrate her birthday for forever. Why can't you choose, like, literally, like, the day after, or like 2 days after? I don't blame her. I would act the same way.
My best friend left me out of her bridal party because I was overweight, and her mother thought that that would limit bridesmaid dress choices and throw the wedding photos off. Sorry, so what you mean to say is your ex-best friend left you out of the bridal party, because there is no way I could ever talk to that person again. Oh my God. I get that it's your special day, but good. Wow, that's mean. You got a mean mom. You got a mean mom telling you can't have your best friend because she's gonna throw off. They make dresses for everybody. Oh, I'm sorry. That sucks, actually. The bride kicked the groom's lifelong best friend out of the wedding party because he lived with his girlfriend and she wanted her entire wedding party to be pure. Wait, what? Never mind that it was her 3rd marriage and that the first 2 ended due to her own infidelity, while marriage number 3 ended the same way, but at least the groom and his friend worked past it and are still best friend. What the? Dude, how is that not the sign immediately that this marriage is not going to work out? If she says your best friend can't come because he gets it, because your best friend gets it every now and again, because your best friend found a woman he loves and chose to share his life with her, but he didn't do it in front of an altar, so I guess he's the devil.
I guess that makes me the devil.
That is nuts. I mean, I'm glad, like, they could work it out, but oh my God. I had already been to 3 dress fittings with a bride when at the last minute she scheduled a 4th fitting for herself on the same day my sister was coming into town. I told the bride that we were having a family dinner and she responded that I needed to make her the priority instead. Bridezilla behavior. When I told her I couldn't just drop everything, she told me that in that case I was no longer required to be a bridesmaid. Holy shh, don't swear. I didn't even get an invitation to the wedding. Oh my God. That is unbelievable entitled behavior. That is like spoiled little kid throwing a tantrum at their 6th birthday behavior. What? I get that you want your wedding to be beautiful. You want your wedding to be this big moment. You know, for some people, the wedding, it's something they've thought about their whole life. They've really fantasized about it. But you don't get to treat people like that. Ah!
8 years ago today,
My sister was left at the altar on her wedding. I was about 13, her maid of honor. He just said no and walked out when asked if he would take her to be his wife. It was horrible after. He joined the army and got married like 6 months later, and my sister moved back in with us. She stayed in my room and would cry herself to sleep every night for months. Yikes. I can't really blame him. My sister is terrible with money and had piles of debt. It just keeps getting worse. Oh my God. It's been 10 years and she's now married to a guy we all really love, but we think she made herself get pregnant recently. He doesn't want kids. And now their marriage, not even after a year, is struggling super badly. Oh my God. This girl has to have like the worst luck in the world. Like as I'm reading this, I'm just like, this is kind of tragic. Like first of all, she got left at her wedding and her sister, who was 13 at the time, was talking about how her sister's terrible with money and she's lots of debt, so clearly she's not the best example for her sister. He just said no and walked out. If she, like at that point, my life would be over. Like I feel like there's no bouncing back or coming back from that, like period. But the fact that this guy then joined the army and got married 6 months later, it wasn't even a year after they finished, they called off their wedding. Like that's crazy. Deleted 6 years ago said, a guy I knew did this. He was a nice laid back guy marrying a toxic person. I can't get into the details because I didn't know him too well, but apparently his friends had been telling him to break it off from the beginning. That's always a red flag, but okay. They had a final intervention for him the morning of the wedding and they finally convinced him to just leave. He showed up at this festival I was at during what was supposed to be his wedding. I saw him and said, hey man, aren't you getting married today? And he had this kind of faraway look and said, yeah, that's not happening anymore. LOL. Wait, hold on. Can you just imagine like you're friends with somebody and they're meant to be getting married and you just see them pop up at a festival one day and you're just like, yo, like, aren't you supposed to be at like your wedding? And it's just like, not happening anymore. Like how do you respond to that? What conversation goes on from there? Because that's wild to me. I don't know. I'm really thinking about, oh, whoops. I'm really thinking about it and I'm like, damn, like that's kind of wild. But like, oh yeah, that's not happening anymore. Okay, Scrappy_LaRue 6 years ago said, not at the altar, but I bailed just 2 days before we were headed to City Hall. Big yikes. It was a green... It's always the green card marriage, y'all. It's always the green card marriages, bro. It was a green card marriage. On our second date, she mentioned that her visa was expiring in 6 months, and I jokingly proposed to her. Dude, this is where you messed up. We continued dating, we're falling for each other, and that proposal became much more real as the deadline approached. Oh my God, that's kind of cute. It's giving like enemies to friends to lovers love trope. Yo, guys. I love reading, and this is giving me like a fiction book right now. Like I'm like, that line right there would be a killer trope. Like you could base a whole book off of that part alone. Anyways, I'm straying way off. So we continued dating, we're falling for each other, and the proposal became much more real as the deadline approached. I backed out at the last minute because we just didn't agree on a few details. Can you imagine you're starting to actually fall for someone who you jokingly proposed to, and then all of a sudden it's like, yeah, no, I don't want to do this anymore. Living arrangements and finances were easy. What couldn't be negotiated was how seriously either of us wanted to take these vows. I wanted to at least attempt to be a married, monogamous couple. She didn't really want to commit to that. Whoa. If she falls deeper in love, great. If not, we're just roommates. I miss her, but I think I dodged a bullet. I believe she would have vanished on me at some point, and I could be in a real jam over immigration crime. Yikes. That is messy. Wait, hold on. There's so much to break down. Like there's so much happening in this one story. Living arrangements, finances, whatever. Oh no, he said that was the easy part. What they were negotiating was how serious either of them wanted to take their vows. If you had to be questioning that, you shouldn't be getting married, period. But I mean, I wanted to at least attempt to be married, monogamous couple. That's crazy. Leaving at the altar 2 days prior is crazy. Talking about immigration crime, that's crazy. I'm like, really, I cannot.
Being maid of honor and telling the bride you don't know if you or others can spend $1,000 on her bachelorette party. Oh my gosh. I mean, like, yeah. I think it's pretty reasonable that not everybody is willing to spend or has the money. Like, even some people would be willing to spend it if they have it and they just don't have it. Like, how insane is that? You know what I mean? And you're gonna be ungrateful? No, no, no. And they got uninvited, not even just demoted. They got uninvited and blocked. Talk about entitled, man. You didn't want to go to the wedding anyway. It wasn't worth your $1,000 after all. My twin asked me to be her maid of honor, but told me I had to grow my hair out. That's so funny. Well, what did you expect your twin to do? They're not gonna listen to you. Gosh, no. They're your twin. Twins live for just bothering each other, really. Man, twin connection is just crazy. My little brother and sister are twins, and they're just like, I don't know, 2 peas in a pod, man. I love it. Twins are very cool. You got any twins in your life? Let me know. Identical twins? Crazy. Are you even a bride if you don't have a presentation slides and briefing for your bridesmaids? Yeah. Yeah, you are still. I mean, it's cute. It's cute. She's setting her expectations. As long as she's not going overboard, like, this could be very fun and funny, you know? Like, I would give my friends a PowerPoint presentation on something silly if they wanted. So, you know, this could be a really fun, funny, cute idea. As long as you're not being rude, essentially. As long as you're just being regular and making it fun and funny. But like, I don't think there's anything wrong with being like, these are all my plans and here's a silly way for me to present it to you. Because like, people need to know what you want and what your dates are and what you're looking for and all of that stuff, you know? Bride flips at bridesmaid's hair. Uh-oh, let's go.
Talking.
I'm not talking. You're the one who's making this whole thing a problem, and no one wants to be a part of it
Actually,
no more.
you're the one making it a problem. You're the one refusing to put your hair up.
Are you done?
Hit your hair up. I'm stopping you because you're throwing a little bit.
Part of it.
This day isn't about you. This day is about me and Gil.
I'd rather have someone else.
I will chase your. Is it illegal to murder people on your wedding day?
This is fake, for sure. This is definitely fake, okay? Sometimes I have a hard time with the fake ones. I think, actually, I say that, but I think that I'm decent at spotting them. Sometimes I miss it because I want all these to be real, but I think that this one's fake. I mean, she was laughing. Also, like, why would anybody have a problem with her hair? It looks fine. You know? You never know. I also think that nobody should have a problem with somebody being like, hey, I just like don't think I can spend like over $1,000 on this one party. You know, I think people should be reasonable about that, but that's not the case.
I was pregnant and was asked to be in a family member's wedding, which was 4 weeks from my due date. Well, I went out of state to visit my significant other's family when I was 6 months pregnant, and I received a scathing group email from her, accusing me of not being committed to the wedding because I was out spending money on a pointless vacation and baby stuff, instead of ordering my dress. At that point, I knew I needed to get, girl, really? At that point, I knew I needed to get out. So I replied all that it would probably be best if I dropped out as a bridesmaid, and her sister-in-law, who was also pregnant, by the way, chimed in saying, don't bother. We all know you got pregnant on purpose as an excuse to not be a committed member of this family. That is definitely why someone chooses to bring a life into this world. The only reason why you could possibly conceive of having a child is to skirt out on family stuff.
She's right, I had my second kid just for the vacation.
Right.
Yeah, I know. I'd love to skip Thanksgiving, and the easiest way to do that is to spend 9 months carrying a human being inside my body. I'm glad these are just stories, because if I had to like associate faces with these, I think I would blow a blood vessel. The bride stopped talking to me immediately after her wedding because I had a terrible cold the day of her wedding and had to go rest in my room halfway through setting up her wedding decorations, which we bridesmaids made without her help. Well, yeah, you're so inconsiderate. You just had to get sick. You couldn't have a strong immune system. You couldn't be popping vitamin 12 all day and keep a virus out. You are just so inconsiderate. You should have been down there and you should have been spreading whatever sickness or cold you had to everybody in the wedding party. That's what a good friend would have done. God, the nerve of some people. The nerve. I was the maid of honor for my brother's wedding, in which he and his bride told me they had hired a professional photographer for the wedding. So I went above and beyond to make myself up for the photos, only to find out that they hadn't actually hired a photographer. They expected me to take all the wedding photos. I'm not even a photographer, not even close.
Not even close. Not even a little bit.
That is awful. Why would they tell you they hired a professional photographer if it was just you? Were they just trying to gas you up and they were doing it it in the single worst way possible. Oh my God. Oh my God, my God, my God. My wife's best friend is a florist, and she gifted her service to her friend's wedding. Well, afterward, the bride and her ma got pissy at her because she didn't give them an additional gift. Let's conveniently forget the $1,000 in floral products she gifted to the wedding. It's a rift that has never been healed. Yeah, that's annoying. The bride and her mom, because she didn't give them enough presents. $1,000 just wasn't enough presents. Every single one of these sounds like a spoiled 8-year-old, man. This is wild to me how people get bridezillas, man, no kidding. After the ceremony was over, the bride informed us that in order to save money, the wedding party would not be served a meal along with the rest of the guests. She said, "You already had the privilege of being in my wedding. What more can you ask for?" I love that undeserved confidence. I love that incredibly smug aura.
So smug. Like he thought it was funny, like this.
And by love, I mean I actually hate that. Come on, man. I came to the wedding. You don't think I want to plate of chicken or fish? You don't think I'm hungry too? I had to stand in a wedding for like an hour and a half. I'm probably working up a real hunger. Oh, I don't want to go to any of these people's weddings.
Okay, Xavier Grayson, 6 years ago, I left my ex-fiance a month before the wedding. Backstory, I never actually proposed to her. She more or less did it to me. We were in a mall and she wanted to go to a jewelry store to look at engagement rings. I wasn't expecting to walk out of there with one, but we did. This salesperson even took a just engaged Polaroid. LOL. She became more and more controlling and I couldn't take it anymore. After I left her, her friend texted me on the day of the supposed ceremony telling me the cake was... what? Telling me the cake was delicious. My ex somehow managed to break into the email and asked me who a girl was in an email I received after I left her. I can understand her reasoning if it was before, but it wasn't. She also texted me a while after I left and told me she missed her period. An hour later, I got another text that said, "Never mind." Wowzers. I thought the last story was crazy. This one's insane. First of all, she proposed to him. They walked out of the engagement ring store with a whole ring. She became more and more controlling, couldn't take it anymore after I left her. Okay, so she clearly, I'm assuming she got married to another person. That's how I'm perceiving the story. The whole part about her missing her period and then telling her never mind, that is really giving me she was with another person on the side. I feel like this whole thing is meant to be like a cheating thing. I could be wrong. Maybe I'm just too tired to be perceiving this correctly, but that is messy either way. Situation is terrible. Oh my God. Catherine Gannon, I hope I said that right. It might be Gannon. Cake-tastrophe. I ditched my Bridezilla fiance at the altar after finding out she'd secretly forced my mates to pay for a $7,000 cake, I believe that is. I'm assuming that's a $7,000 cake, and if that's the case, that's insane. One ex-fiance has told how he walked out on his bride-to-be at their wedding after he found out she coerced her friends into paying for their $7,000 cake. The former groom said that his fiancée started to show her true colors as the big day got closer and she got more and more demanding. He dodged a bullet in a good way, because like if she's already this demanding and whatnot, then like who knows how she'll be 10 years down the road when you've been married for 10 years and you're kind of stuck in this marriage or whatever. I don't know, that's kind of, can we just talk about the $7,000 wedding cake though? Like, I think the most I've ever had a family member pay for a cake, or I've ever seen a family member pay for cake, is like maybe $500, $600. $7,000, definitely nothing over $1,000. Like, I'm really thinking about it now. I just want to know what that wedding cake looked like, and it had to have tasted like the best wedding cake in the world, because there's no other way I'd be paying $7,000 for a cake unless it wasn't the prettiest, biggest, and most delicious wedding cake in the world. Like, absolutely not.
As much as we would love for you to attend, sadly, our venue cannot accommodate everyone. We are sure to keep you in our hearts in this celebration of love. If you would like to congratulate the bride and groom rather than a registry, they are accepting money to aid in a beautiful honeymoon. See, this is what the other people should have done, but like to the people who are coming to their wedding. Don't ask people to give you stuff when you don't invite them, you know? I just think it's like an even deeper wound to be like, yeah, sorry, you just didn't quite make the cut. Anyway, money please? So weird. I was maid of honor for my friend's wedding. Here's a list. No one was allowed to wear heels because she didn't want anyone to be taller than her. She was already at least 3 inches taller than any girl at her wedding. There were 6 bridesmaids, including me, right? No one was allowed to wear false eyelashes except for her, because you know, the big puffy white dress doesn't make you stand out enough. It's so true. That's insane. That if somebody was like, no heels allowed, I would be like, no problem, man. No problem. I'd wear sneakers. No false eyelashes. Also no problem, but it's just crazy. It's just a little controlling. It's giving Bridezilla for sure. Would I be the asshole if I refused to attend my cousin's wedding after she asked me to dye my ginger hair? No. I would just say, no, I'm not gonna do that. And then if she's like, well, then you can't come to the wedding, then you didn't not attend. You didn't refuse to attend. I mean, you clearly don't even want to go now, which is fine. I don't blame you at all for not wanting to go, because it's just strange and you have beautiful hair. Why do people ask people to dye their hair? Also, like, I know that some people ask because it's like crazy bright colors, like a crazy pink or bright blue or something, which I also still don't agree with, but at least I like can see the thought pattern behind it, if that makes sense. Not justifying it is stupid, but you get what I'm saying. But like something that's like a clearly natural color like this, so weird. One last thing, I'll be sending my Venmo and Cash App to the ones who haven't paid the $500 donation towards honeymoon in Hawaii. Love you guys, can't wait to be a wifey. Imagine the $500 donation. You can't accept donation. Like, that's just insane. $500. If you were like in lieu of gifts, you know, if you just like what you would spend on a gift, you want to like throw our way so that we can put it towards the honeymoon. Yeah, 100%. That is your prerogative. People usually get gifts at weddings. People are usually ready to spend a little bit of money anyway. So like, might as well do that. Definitely makes sense if you want to go on this crazy honeymoon to Hawaii. $500. Also, like, imagine how many people are you assuming would be at this wedding? And everyone gives you $500? Oh my gosh. That's like the most lavish trip I've ever heard of. Or it's not going to the honeymoon. Which is, I mean, I would rather have you be like, can you donate me $500 so I can pay my rent? But then I'd be like, why are you having a wedding?
The final straw for me was when the bride demanded to see the toast I'd written so she could edit it. She ended up rewriting it all together and I ended up skipping her wedding. Why even ask for a toast then? Why not just write out the script? Why not just send out the script for your wedding if that's what you're looking for? Let's keep going, man. My best friend just got kicked out of a wedding party because she couldn't afford to spend the $1,500 to go to the bachelorette party. The bride told her to take out a credit card to pay for it. Oh, bitch. Didn't mean to. You pay for it. You pay for it if it's that important. You're clearly throwing money around. If anyone ever asked me to spend $1,500 on top of our, I can't even talk. I can't even form a sentence. This stuff is making my blood boil. That was making my hair stand on end. That was making my blood pressure rise. That was making my shoe size shrink. Oh my God. I am lucky that I don't know any of these women. Be thankful we don't have to go to any of these weddings, my Top 10 Central gang. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Keep it real. Oof, these are taking life off me. These are Bridezillas. The video title was not kidding whatsoever. I promise if I ever get married, it'll be the most chill, laid back affair. You know what? Be a couple fellas, couple fillies, and we'll all just we'll sit back and we'll have a good time and we'll listen to, I don't know, Mr. Brightside, and we'll dance and we'll smooch after it. We're not gonna do any of this stuff. Okay, back to the content. This is taking like life out of me. All right, can we see this one? You want me to zoom in a little bit? Do I not know how zooming works? Why is zooming in zooming out? Do they change what zooming in means recently? There's like a sweet spot. There's a sweet spot of zooming. There's a new Zoom update. It's crazy. Okay, shut up. This is the worst rambling and worst. You got nothing, man. You got nothing. Okay, get back to reading. Why is that what a 500% zoom in looks like? Or is that a 500% zoom out? Am I that technologically illiterate? Okay, I don't understand. I don't understand how these machines claim to work. I don't talk to the machine spirits. I just sit in the chair and I react. You ask me to do anything outside of that skill set and I struggle.
My brother left his fiance a week before the wedding. Basically, as soon as he proposed, all she cared about was the wedding. I know a lot of girls who are like that. Like, they get really caught up in the whole like wedding and the ceremony and how it's gonna go and how perfect it has to look to everybody who's attending. And I know a lot of people who get all up in their head talking about my wedding has to be the most perfect wedding ever. It has to be better than everybody else's wedding. Da 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 da. And I just think that's crazy. Like, I feel like you should be excited to just be celebrating your love and your life with the person that you love and having the people who you love and care about there with you. But again, that might just be me. He wanted a very small wedding and she wanted a huge one. See? I had a feeling. She was also very religious. Her father is a preacher and he was not at all. She told him she wanted to become a deacon in her father's church and he told her no, he didn't want to do that. Pretty much they were disagreeing on everything up to that point. Finally, he called it off. He said it was the hardest thing he's ever had to do, but he knew he made the right decision. I kind of agree with this one. I feel like if he was going down a path of like, he was questioning the relationship and he felt like he wasn't sure if they were going to work out in the future because they were disagreeing on so much, I feel like he did make the right decision. Even though sometimes you have to make hard decisions, I feel like a lot of the times those are good decisions to make because he's probably in a healthy or happy relationship, or even if he's not, because relationships don't necessarily have to deem your worth, at least he learned from this experience and he can apply that to any relationship that he gets into next, whether that's with a friendship or a romantic relationship or anything. So I don't know, I feel like hats off to this guy. Well, hats off to Biscuitful's brother because it's not actually him, but yeah. 10 years ago, Zako said an old friend of mine called off his wedding because he found out she effed some dude at her bachelorette party the weekend before. Hold on. He waited until the day of the wedding to call it off because he wanted her to have to explain it to her family, most of whom flew into town for the wedding. You guys, that is wild. Oh my God. I'm really sitting here like, whoa, like an old friend of mine called off his wedding because he found out she effed some dude at her bachelor party the weekend before. Girl, I am all for having a good time, but that is doing too much. You are getting married. It's not no more, let's have one last final night. No. You are a taken woman. You cannot do that. And then the fact that he had the patience and he was so petty, which like kind of deserved, but still, he had the patience and was so petty to wait until the wedding to call it off so she could tell her family who flew in to see this wedding why he wasn't getting married to her because she cheated on him. That is crazy. Yo, people are wild. That is oh my God, and that's the last one too.